I was raised by my grandma. My mum was around, but she was very young. She was only 19. My dad had another family with 3 other sons. I was the bastard child and referred to by my extended family often. My mum didn't want me and constantly told me I ruined her life. She wanted to adopt me out, but my grandma wouldn't let her. As a young child and as a teen, I had some horrible things happen to me at the hands of people who should have been protecting me. Sorry. Thank you. My family were no way Christians, but I did have Christians marry into the family. Growing up, I later had school friends whose family went to church, and I would sometimes be invited to go with them. They went to the St Albans Church at Warners Bay. I actually got confirmed in that church when I was 12. I went to a group called Girls Friendly Society. They were not friendly. They thought it was funny to pick on me because I was poor, so I didn't stay with them very long. I didn't go out clubbing or partying as a teen. I didn't get into drugs, fornication, alcohol. I just kept to myself. I got married at 19, had 2 children by the time I was 22, but then I was divorced by 30, and I moved to the Gold Coast to start again. In my 30s, I was looking for someone to truly love me, but unfortunately that didn't work out either. And after all that was over, I got on with life the best I could, but I did get really good at starting over again. In 2008, I met Sean. We got married and we started our journey together. It was 2011, we moved to Ipswich so we could get closer to Sean's work. It was there that the Lord really started to go for Caroline and find her and get her. Although when I look back on my life, he was always chasing me. Sean's mum, Glenda, came to visit and got me into watching Joyce Meyer. I never took to Joyce Meyer, but God can use a donkey to get to us if he wants to. This led me to searching YouTube for more information. And I found Steven Anderson. Love him or hate him, and as obnoxious as he can be, it was through him that I finally heard the gospel. Not one professing Christian in my 40 years had ever preached the gospel to me. My family, friends, church members. And if I had died, I would have went straight to hell. I'd made friends with my local postie. She was attending a Pentecostal church up in Queensland. She invited me to come, so I went. She picked me up. I ended up going to that church for a little while. I got baptised at the church because I didn't know any better. I thought that's what you had to do. But the more I watched Steven Anderson, the more I realised that their God was money. They preached a different gospel. Sean and I also attended a local Baptist church in our area. They too were preaching gobbledygook. Sean and I liked watching Pastor Anderson, and we were watching the After the Tribulation, and at the end of all his documentaries has a little short gospel presentation, and that's where I heard it for the first time. So in 2015, sitting on the floor in front of my TV, watching Pastor Anderson preach fire and brimstone, watching his gospel presentation for the umpteenth time finally got me. I couldn't ignore the tug, the conviction, and the very big feeling in my core. I cried a lot, I spoke from the heart, and I asked Jesus to forgive my nasty sin and then save me. No big fanfare, no light show, just me and Jesus, my friend. And he did. I knew from that moment on that I would be eternally with Jesus, not when I die, but from that very moment. What has changed? My speech. I was a swearer. I could swear like a sailor. every sentence would be swearing. It wasn't good. But now when I swore, I'd feel this, "Ooh, that's not right." I'd be convicted. Negative thoughts would come into me and I'd be convicted. You know, everything I did, no, don't do that. It's stuff I would normally just naturally do. If I did it, I go, "Whoa, that's not right." So I could just see him everywhere. So Sean and I found a KJV church and started attending. It was a very small church, but the gospel was sound and we started attending weekly. I also attended the midweek service. I was loving it. I got re-baptised at that Baptist church because I wanted to be scripturally and biblically baptised properly. I was on fire. But then the church had a pastor change and brought in unbiblical teachings. That was about in 2017, so we didn't stay long after that. I met a group of people through Pastor Anderson's Facebook page, and we would go out together. We would eat lunch, sing hymns, and go out soul winning, knocking on doors. Unfortunately, the people I was going out with got caught up with a lot of stuff that was happening with Logan Robinson and other stuff, so that ended as well. So then I didn't have a church to go to. I stopped listening to Pastor Anderson because of all the NIFB, OFB drama. It was just not helping. So I'd backslidden. What brought me back? God's very long suffering. I'd lost my job. I was in a spiral of anxiety and depression and sadness. In the beginning of 2025, I cried out to God. I surrendered. I said, "I give up. I can't do this. I tried. I can't. I'm all yours. Your will be done on my life, Lord, not mine." So I told Sean I wanted to find a church. So I searched for King James churches and found this great church. I attended the week after Easter, and I was so thankful finding my people. It feels like home. Pastor Charlie and his family have been a blessing, and I'm encouraged and convicted and loved. Thank you.